So today, y'all, we are joined by Kristi Chaves. And one of the cool things about Kristi is that she's really fascinated by wealth and the things that we do to either increase wealth in our lives or prevent ourselves from having as much wealth as we could. And that fascinated me because I find that we often spend a lot of time searching for wealth, but I know that I personally came from a background of extreme poverty. And I studied wealth from a standpoint of why does everybody else have it, but I don't? And it forced me to face a lot of my assumptions around wealth and self-worth and worthiness of wealth. So when I saw your bio come across, I was like, absolutely, let's delve into this one because I want to learn from this. So
Yeah.
thank you, Kristi, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. I'm excited to hear what you have to say. So tell us a little bit about your background and what drew you to this topic.
Yeah. So I have a very different, unique background, I would say, in the sense of, so both my parents actually were coaches and in the personal development, like personal growth era, all of it very early on, before it was popular, before it was a thing. And so I grew up really with this idea of you get to be yourself, you get to create what you want to create. And it really is about being yourself. It wasn't so much about wealth, it was just more about you get to be yourself, you get to be who you are in this world, bring your magnetism of who you are through, and do and create what you want. And because of that, I actually became a coach when I was 21 years old, and I never planned to be a coach. I was in college studying child development, really that typical college student where you have no idea what you want to do with your life. You just go to college because that's what you think you should do. And I was through college, and I think that honestly going to college started my journey because I put myself through school without loans. And it was one of those decisions of I'm going to do this because I want to do this for myself. Now, looking back, was it to prove that I didn't know what else to do? Yeah, of course. Like, I was just like, let's go to college. But it really showed me, it was the first step of if I want something, I can pay for it, I can do it. And guess what? I work a hell of a lot harder when I actually work for something that I wanted. So that was really like the start to my journey. And then it led to a 11-year coaching career where this is what I do, and really diving into helping women and generating more wealth in their life. And I absolutely love it. And it is the best thing out there, truly.
That is so cool. Like, I can't even imagine what it would be like to grow up in a household where you've got these two coaches and they're like, you can do whatever you want to do, just be the best version of you, and you can have anything that you want to have. That's amazing.
Yes, it was very different. And I will say also, they're very much that, but they also very much held a mentality of you have to earn things and you have to work for things. But it was a very different mentality because I didn't go through a lot of what a lot of people go through at home in home. And it's almost actually was my interaction with the world and other women and school where like a lot of where I feel like my own insecurities and my self-judgments and all of that I really had to work through because almost my household was so safe for me, but it's almost like the world didn't feel that way as much. And that was something for me to really learn to work through.
That's fascinating. It's interesting because I'm working with that with my daughter right now. And raising kids, I very much have been very conscious about the fact that I was raised with so little support, like of any kind, financial, emotional, verbal. And so I was like, I'm going to do the exact opposite. Is this just part of who we are? So hearing
Yeah.
you say that, I'm guessing this is just part of the path of being human.
Yeah, it is. I don't think that you can prevent the human experience of that fear of what will people think of me or judgments or whatever it will be. Like we all have to work through it. And I honestly think that's also what's made me fall in love with business is it's been another opportunity to work through so much of all of your insecurities get triggered
Yeah.
when you have a business. And so it's been a beautiful opportunity to move through all of that.
That is so very true. Pricing and what is my time worth? What am I worth? What is access to me worth?
Yeah.
And I so often see people undervalue themselves.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart because I'm like, you are worth so much more than that. But until you see that,
Yeah.
you're not going to be paid any more than what it is that you feel you're worth.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, in this, what is usually the biggest hills that you have to get people over before they start to see their worth?
So I think that one of the biggest things is actually really learning to detach your worth from what you're producing, right? And it really is about learning how to realize that I really believe that everyone is absolutely incredible just for existing, just for being a human, just for breathing. Like everyone is an incredible human being. And it's really about knowing that your worth, value, whatever you want to call it, is really just you recognizing, wow, I'm an incredible human just for being me, not for the way I show up in the world, not for what I have, not for what I've produced, but just for existing. I'm worthy. Just for being born, I'm an incredible person. I think really what it is actually learning how to detach from everything that you make your identity, right? Your business, money, being a parent, a mom. Like one of my favorite questions is when you ask someone like, who are you? A lot of people say, I'm a business owner, I'm a mom, I'm a this. And it's that's not actually who you are. That's the roles you play, but that's not who you are at your core. And so I think it's first really learning to discover who are you below those roles.
How do you do that? Like you're saying that, and I'm like, yeah, I would have said exactly that. I would have said, I'm a podcaster, I'm an influencer, I'm a mom. But so how do you strip those things away and determine who you are?
So I think that number one is getting out of your idea that who you are is something you can even put into words. Because, like, really, when think about it as human beings, when we relate to someone, it's all about I want to be around people because I like the way that I feel in me when I'm around them. Now, we can't, so when you look at who you are, it's really about feeling like what does it feel like in your body, connected in you to be connected to who you are? What are those moments in life when you felt so incredible and so connected? And it wasn't because of what happened, but it was just because you felt this innate connection. It starts in your body, it starts in your nervous system, where you can really start to feel that connection with yourself. That then you recognize that's the source of who you are, not all the things that you're doing in your life.
That's really interesting. So then how does that translate into business and as far as success in business goes? Because when you're divorcing the two of those from one another, how does that connect?
Yeah. It's actually the absolute key to your business success because the biggest thing that stops people in business from taking bigger steps, from showing up the way that they really want to be showing up, from going for more income, whatever it may be, is because you're attached. Because on some level, you have attachment to that outcome means something about me. That amount of clients means something about me. What people say means something about me. So you actually can never fully go for what you really want in your business until you unwind the attachment that who I am is not my business. My results is not my, like I am not my results. And so when you recognize, wow, what am I connected to? Then when we think about business, then we think about, okay, if it's not about me and my attachment, then it's like, what do you really want to do? And this is when we get radically honest about what do you really want your income to look like? What do you really want your life to look like? What do you really want your business to be and how you want to be perceived and have a brand and all of that? You actually get to play in the realm of potentiality because you're not in attachment. And that's what business is about, is it's about creating something that's never existed. And you can actually do that when we're not attached and we're not putting our attachment to the results.
That's really interesting. When I do consulting for social media, and people always ask me, how do you get an audience? How do you build an audience? And the thing that I always come back to is the only commodity that anyone has that no one else can provide is the authentic version of themselves.
Yeah.
And when you start putting the authentic version of yourself out there, then it gives others the license to be the authentic version of themselves.
Yeah.
It creates a safe space that connects with them and it draws people to you because anyone can create AI facades
Yeah.
of an influencer lifestyle of private jets and crystal
Right.
balls and whatnot. What they can't do and what AI will never be able to do is human messy, because
Yeah.
we are all human messy.
Yeah.
And that's what resonates with others is that, oh, you know what? Kristi is messy in these ways. That resonates with me because I'm also messy in these ways.
Yeah.
I it's okay for me to be not perfect.
Totally. Absolutely. And I think that is it, right? It is that being willing to be messy and to be yourself and to bring that through. And something for me when it comes to business and when we talk about wealth, like I'm very driven by is like, what is the life you want to live and what is your mission behind your business and what you're doing here? Because it is way more than just money that we're going for. Like that, if you're in it for the money, you burn out really fast because you realize like you gotta love the mission and the life that you're building really in the business that you're creating for yourself.
Absolutely. It's funny. The last couple of months, especially in my podcasting episodes, it's really pushed my personal growth in a very different path than I expected it to. Uh,
Yeah.
but I'm welcoming it, and it's been like a very valuable process. But what I realize is that the group that follow me are also going through that process along with me. Every time I share something very personal, uh,
Yeah.
I hear from a handful of people, oh, this really connected with me, or this really connected with me.
Yeah.
And it is amazing how the more deeply you connect with the what is it that I have to get back, as opposed to the what is it that I'm going to get from this.
Yeah.
It makes the end result exponentially more powerful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that a lot of it is really coming back to like why you're doing what you're doing and really looking at the deeper reasoning and the deeper pull in your heart. And I know we mentioned this before, but for me, I've always wanted to just do good in the world and produce. I think that's what growing up in a household like I did for me is it was like, I want to be a great person. I want to contribute. I'm not here to complain. I'm not here to pick apart people. I'm here to bring out my best and bring out the best in everyone because that's what we didn't have. And that's what most people are not brought up with and not reflected in the world. We're constantly reflected who we should be and is inherently telling us that who we are is not good enough. My dad unexpectedly passed away 2 years ago, and he was someone so close to me. Like my parents have been like my best friends type of relationship my whole life, and it was out of nowhere that he passed away. He had a heart attack, and it was like one moment we're talking about life and business the day before, and the next I'm getting a text message that he's not here. And there's nothing like having a moment like that to make you realize what life really is. Like make you actually wake up and realize what the preciousness of what life really is and how much time we spend on so many unnecessary things in your head and your life and this and that. And I think when he passed away, it really opened me up to, okay, this is not just about making money. This is not just about having a business. This is about what is your version of wealth in your life, right? Is if that is the nice Louis Vuitton bags, great. But for me, that's like having a business and raising a daughter and not being tied to a job and providing the life that I want for myself. And it's like, it really woke me up to you have no guarantees here. You have no guarantees on the next day. And now that doesn't mean go do what you want for the next 24 hours as if it's your last 24 hours. That's be intentional with your life, be intentional with your words, with your thoughts, and what are you choosing to build? And that really birthed my whole mission behind my business is absolutely I'm here to help women make money, but I'm here to help you make money to live the life you want, not to make money for a life you don't want because you don't know how long you have it.
That's so true. So, what are the biggest changes that created in your life? You talked about it's shifted your entire focus, but
Yeah.
as far as what real impacts has that had on you?
Yeah, I think honestly, one of the biggest things is just cutting out like it is wild how much we are so influenced by other people and the world and social media and the noise of this is what your life should be. This is what you should like. This is what you should do. And I think for me, honestly, it really put me in my own inner leadership of this is my life. What is in my heart to do? What is in my heart? What is the human I want to walk through the world being? Not what do I think that I should do. And I feel like it's really put me in being in charge of being willing to do that. And so just different things of how I talk and so many ways of how, even for me, honestly, like money and how much money you want to make and how much the life you want to live because of fear of that other people might not choose that journey and might feel triggered by it. And so I think in some ways it just gave me this like audacity permission slip. Anywhere I limit who I am, how I express, how I speak, what I do, the goals I go for, the life I want. It's like amazing how much we limit what we want for ourselves in fear of how it's going to be received or perceived. And I think that really, that's like, I shifted a lot of things in my business and my life and a lot of things that I can go into. But fundamentally, that was at its core what got shifted for me.
And that's huge. That's a major one because historically, women were controlled by money.
Yeah.
It's only within the last generation or so that we've had free access to our own money. It was
Yeah.
what 60s was the first time that it was legal for women to even have, I believe, a checking account and credit, like, or buy a house.
Yeah.
I think that it's still so taboo because it's still taboo for us to want to have power.
Yeah.
And it is incredibly freeing to just say, you know what, I'm going to be the most authentic, real version of me.
Yeah.
Ones will be drawn to that. And the wrong
Right.
never would be, no matter how much I watered myself down.
Yeah.
Because I know that historically I've tried so hard to put myself into a small enough box for certain relationships. And when you let go of that, it is
Yeah.
so incredibly freeing and to be the realest version. And it's a wonderful place to be in. I love it here. But it is interesting how sometimes it will be triggering to people, and that's okay because
Totally.
something that's lacking in them that makes it triggering.
Totally.
Because
Absolutely.
I don't know, but I can't think of the last time that someone random triggered me outside of someone who's just spewing open hatred. But
Yeah.
but I don't get triggered by people just being.
Yeah. And I think also, I will say back in the day, I saw women post online about money and what they were making in their businesses, and I was triggered.
Yeah.
But then I looked at that and I was like, why am I triggered? And I was like, I'm triggered because secretly there's a part of me that wants it. And I'm scared to admit that. I'm scared what that means about me. I'm afraid of, does that make me greedy and bad? But I really realized, and this was something that came from when my dad passed away. I had a beautiful life. My life was good. Like it was good. But I realized there was a way of living my life that I wanted. And it was actually after my dad passed away that I about a year and a half later I had my first child and I had one baby. I only have one baby right now, just to be clear. But I had a baby and I knew I wanted to be a mom and be a successful business owner. And I didn't want to feel like I had to choose. I didn't want to feel like I'm the mom who's glued to her computer 24/7 because she's working her tushy off. And I knew there was a way that both could coexist. And that was the thing that actually my dad's passing made me do is restructure my business. Look at how can both coexist? How can I be all the things that I want to be in the world and I don't have to choose from one another. And honestly, I don't think I would have the business I have and the life I have if I didn't get triggered by other people showing me what's possible. And it triggered me because I wanted it. And there was a part of me that wanted it. And I feel like there's this thing as women like, oh, we shouldn't want too much. Like you shouldn't want too much money. You shouldn't want this life. That's what the man can want that, but you're not
Exactly.
allowed to. It's
Exactly.
like, why the hell not?
Yes. And even I feel like some men judge other men for that. And it's one of those things where it's like my success doesn't take away from anyone else.
Yeah.
In fact, the more you surround yourself with successful people, the more you lift one another up. Time
Yeah.
and again, Quantum physics shows this, science shows this, behavioral science shows this. You are a combination of the five people that you surround yourself with the most.
Totally.
I've worked to train myself that when I start to feel triggered or when I start to feel competitive, I'm like, okay, what is it that they represent that I want? And
Yeah.
is that something that I want enough to really pursue it? Or is it something that I'm like, oh, you know what, that would be really nice to have, but I don't
Right.
really want to make the shift to achieve that. Because,
Yeah.
because sometimes I'll see something and be jealous, and I'm like, but I don't really want that. Like, I don't,
Yeah.
that's not the thing that I want. It's just
Yeah.
that old ingrained habit that has me thinking that would be nice.
Totally. Totally. Absolutely. And I think that's the thing when it comes to like wealth and anything that you want to create is you have to get honest about what you want in your life. Like, what do you really want? And I think a lot of times we need to also be surrounded by, I was just on a call with a client earlier, and it was like what she thinks is possible for her is so limited by her viewpoint. And instead, we need people around us, and we need people around us to show us, like, hey, this is possible for you. I know you may not see it, but I see it for you. And just having someone outside of you, and that's what I love being for people, is able to say, hey, this is what is actually possible for you. And I always say to my clients, once you say this is what you want, I'm not letting you lower that bar when life is challenging, when you're having a moment of fear. I'm going to hold that bar for you. I'm going to help you through where you're challenged, but I'm not lowering that bar. We're going to stretch you to move through what you're moving through to reach it. And I will say, I think that's the thing that honestly, having my dad pass away and then having a baby and having a business showed me is those are the moments when a lot of people stop,
Yes.
take a break,
Yes.
take months to just take a beat. And I did it. I used my dad's passing to fuel more of my mission for my life. I used having a baby to be a reason why I want to still show up so other women can see you don't need to stop your life when you have a baby. You honor your season. Yes, you do all the things, but you still get to live this beautiful life. And I think those two pivotal things showed me like, if I can do what I did in those seasons, it gives you this like fuel of you can do literally anything anything you want, you can. And you just got to name it and do it and claim it and get yourself around someone who's going to hold you to that.
It's interesting. I find that's something that I see over and over again people struggle with. I don't know if
Yeah.
you've ever read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
And in that, he talks about the story of the man who bought the mine, started mining, and didn't strike whatever he was mining for. I can't remember what he was mining for. So he sells the mine. The guy that buys the mine does research,
Yeah.
determines that there's a different place they should have been mining, goes down and instantly hits whatever it was they were mining for and
Yeah.
got insanely wealthy. The original guy looked at that and instead of saying, why am I so incredibly unlucky? This isn't fair. I'm just not made for this. Evidently, success isn't made for me. He looked at it and said, you know what? I didn't educate myself.
Mm,
I didn't take the time to make certain I understood the challenge I was up against. And that is an expensive lesson, but I'm going to make certain that I get every penny's worth of learning from that lesson. And he went on to have incredible success because he did not give up.
yeah.
Anytime something felt just completely insurmountable, he would dig deep into the researching it and finding ways around whatever the challenge was.
Yeah.
And I love that because it is easy to get into the depths of something. And we look at success so often and we look at the people who start here and end here, and we think it's a linear path. It's been all highlights. Wow, they've had it so lucky.
Yeah.
That's because most people aren't open about the fact that every time you hit a little blip, you do one of these, and then
Yeah.
you do one of these, and then you do one of these.
Yeah.
And if you get comfortable in the trough, you're never going to make it up to the peak.
Absolutely. Okay.
But it is part of the process. Healing is that way, wealth is that way. Success in any path is
Yeah.
about having that unwavering faith of where you're going and
Yes.
ignoring when you bottom out on some aspect.
Yeah. 1,000%. And I think that's the thing. I remember so many moments of especially like a month or so after my dad passed away. I think about 6 weeks later, I did a workshop and it was in his honor. But I remember preparing for this workshop, just like having moments of I'm just crying. And then I go back to doing plan my workshop and I just cry and do the workshop. And I think that's the thing is like those are the moments that most people don't see behind the scenes. And I really strive to, for the women in my community, I'm so real about what it takes to grow a business. And I am so not here to sugarcoat the process that it is work, but the work, the reward on the other side is yourself and the a level of confidence you never knew was in you because you went through that work, because you went through those moments of, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it through on the other moment. And then you do. And that's the thing, like you could embody and confidence all these things all you want, but until you're doing the things that are an edge for you, like you will not own a level of confidence in you until you do those edgy things, until you show up on the social media platform like being yourself and you're like, I did it. Oh my gosh, I can do anything now. And every one of those opportunities is a moment to show yourself what's really in you. And that's why I love business and I always say this to all my ladies. Yes, it's amazing making money. Yes, it's amazing having freedom of your schedule and time. And this life is incredible. But the greatest reward is you literally, to create it, you have to wake up to who you really are and what's really inside of you to do. And that I think is the greatest reward of anything, anything and anything.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
It's been a wild path for me. I never imagined myself inspiring others. I never imagined having a public platform. I talk very openly on all of my platforms about coming from abuse and any kind of abuse that my parents could have done, they did do. And I used to think of success as the way that I would pull myself out of that. So I pursued success so hard because I thought, once I get enough distance between me and my background, I'm
Yeah.
gonna be happy.
Yeah.
And I would reach that level and I wouldn't be happy. I'm like, okay, it must be the next level. And I'd reach the
Yeah.
next level and I wouldn't be happy. And I kept pushing and pushing. And I had an accident back in 2012 that essentially hit the reset button on my entire life. I was
Mm.
hit by a driver on a closed street at a peach festival and
Mm.
did major nerve damage in my neck and my head. I had to relearn how to walk. I went through depression. It truly took away all of my ability to maintain that facade any longer. It gave me the biggest gift because it stripped me down to nothing and I had to rebuild myself from scratch with two toddlers.
Yeah.
And it forced me to get very real about the parts of me that are really important to recreate versus the parts of me that didn't really ever serve me anyway. And it unlocked the connection to this huge audience that I never expected to have. And so I now I'm like, okay, how do I give back to others to show them they can do the hard things too? And just because you have a narrative that you have crafted and maintained all this time does not mean that's your narrative going forward.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take being hit by a woman and having to learn how to walk again. Like you at any point in time can hit that reset button and start from scratch.
Totally.
So
Totally.
I was really interested when I saw your story come across because I was like, this is absolutely something that more people need to know.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So how
And
do
I
you, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, so how do you help people break out of that vision of who they've been living in and help them push into something more authentic for them?
It's in a lot of different ways that I do it. I have a lot of different modalities that I've been trained in and through my mom's work and different things with like somatic work and then also just looking at their life. But honestly, it's like one of my favorite things to do is when I get with a client, whether they're in one of my programs or one on one, is just by talking to them, I can hear where they're limiting themselves. And I can hear where someone's, oh, I want more of this, or I'm limiting that, or I'm making it this reason. And so it really is a process of being engaged with someone. And I always say my job is like to pull out what you really want, not what I want, not, and that's what I would say. My version of a wealthy life is my version of a wealthy life. It's not your version. So we first have to like pull out and look at where you're limiting what you think your business and your life can be, and then look at what do you really want. And so I have a specific way of how I guide people to find that, and that I'm there to help them. And a big thing of what I am is I think we really need people who believe in the potential of what we can create. And my favorite thing is helping people see that for themselves and be that person outside of them who's, yeah, yes, this is what I see for you. And it's in a conversation, it's through the way that I coach, it's through my programs that I can really pull out what that is in you and then help you to be able to then craft like an actual business and an actual strategy to then make it happen. Because it's one thing to name it, it's one thing to write it down.
Yeah.
But if you're not actually having a strategy and a plan and a way that it's actually going to come to fruition, then it's just an idea.
That is so true. It's amazing how so many small businesses fail because of lack of true cohesive vision. You create a business plan all day long, but if you don't know what it is that you're shooting for when things get hard, and
Yeah.
that is the reality. You're going to have those moments where you're going to be in the depths of it and you're going to think this is stupid.
Yeah.
I'm stupid for doing this. This is not working. And
Yeah.
whoever thought this was a good idea was dumb.
Yeah.
And
And
how do you push through those deep moments to say, you know what? No, I've got a bigger vision.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
And I think that's also like my one thing I'm super grateful for personally is my parents were always such a model of always having support. And like I've always had a coach, a business coach, someone in my corner all through it all. And I think that it's like I wish it was just free to I wish every business owner, the government paid for everyone to get free coaching and get the support, but we don't. And I think that's also what stretches you is like for me, when I go for my income goals, like I know that comes with making sure that always includes the level of support because I will always get there faster with support. Like I think this idea of trying to piecemeal your business together and think that you're going to move yourself at the rate that you really want on your own is wild. So,
That's good. That's because that's something I struggle with. I've got all these different small businesses. I've got the podcast. I recently lost Patreon. I've got the social media. Not to mention, I've got two kids that I homeschool. We travel a lot. Like, I've got all these components, and you're right. I'm not good about getting help in the areas that could make a big difference as far as the speed with which we grow.
yeah. And I think it's just, it's natural. A lot of people, you get to a point, and that's what I always say with coaching. It's like, you don't need a coach. You don't need it. It's not like you're incapable, but are you going to get to your goals a lot faster with probably a lot less stress? Yes, you will. Because you have someone who's holding that vision, who's making sure you're focused on what you need to focus on, who's pulling out your genius and is making sure that you have an actual plan that is going to get there faster. And it just like in reality, life is always pulling at us in a zillion directions. And so having someone that is like your touchstone regularly for what you're focused on is incredible.
That's really cool. So I know we're getting towards the end of our time.
Yeah.
One of the last questions I always like to ask is, what's the final capstone comment or thought that you want to leave us with? Because
Oh,
it's something that really encapsulates what you think embodies what your message is.
yeah. Really, my biggest thing is that wealth starts with who you are in every day and how you act and how you move and how you speak and how you think and everything else in your life, all the wealth that you want to create comes from that.
So, I what is something that each of us could change to help us embody wealth more?
I think that the first thing is just, I would actually first look at what do you really want? If you're really honest with yourself, what do you really want in your life, in your business? What do you really desire? And then pick one thing you would need to do to create that desire. If it's a change in behavior, a change of thinking, hiring the help, getting support, getting in the right environment, and go do it.
I love that.
Go do it. It's
Love
so
that.
simple
It is, but
and
it's
so hard.
It's the simple things that are always the hardest to do because it's not that you don't do them because you don't know to do them. It's that you don't do them because you're like, oh, this is
Exactly.
not in my comfort zone any longer, and that's tough.
Exactly. 1,000%. A
Thank you
thousand
for this,
percent.
Christy. This was fascinating.
Aw.